So
Shout
out, Jorge. I know you're not listening, but I'll talk to you anyway. So let's get into it, boys. Mandatory mini camp. I'm just going to let this loop a couple times because this is a thing of beauty. Mecole Hardman been turning some heads here. And now listen, mandatory mini camp. It's OTAs. This is mostly routes on air. Here was a little team activity, but Jordan Love just heaving that thing up there, and Mecole Hardman, I don't know, just about 5 steps beyond the defense there. I want to talk a little about Mecole. I want to get your all's take on it because this is something that when we signed him, I feel like what Goody's idea was, hey, look, let's kind of cover our bases because we know we're going to be down Christian Watson next year. And if the draft doesn't fall just right, let's get us somebody in here who can stretch the defense a little bit with some speed. He's also a guy that can run some of your gadget plays. He's also a special teamer. There's just a lot to like about him. I am kind of starting to wonder now, though, is Mecole Hardman going to be one of these guys that we look up at the end of the year? You guys notice on the tweet here, I said Jordan Love to Mecole Hardman, putting off Brett Favre to Andre Rison vibes circa 1996. If you guys go back in time and look at that era, Andre Rison was one of those free agent signings. It wasn't like teams were just stumbling over themselves to sign him. You know what I mean? Tim, you probably remember this back in the day. It was, if I remember correctly, it was just kind of like, hey, let's bring this dude in. He had gotten into some trouble. I don't know if there was any legal trouble, but it just seemed like more times than not, he was in the news a little bit, or, you know, I don't know all the details there. I do remember, probably shouldn't even speak on this, his house did get burned down by a girlfriend that will remain nameless because she is now, you know, unfortunately passed away. That's all I'm pointing out is, like, he had some baggage with him, right? Mecole doesn't have any of that.
Nope.
That's to my knowledge.
No, but just those 3 Super Bowl rings that he's got to carry with him, you know.
and the Super Bowl winning catch. You remember that, Tim? Like, you know, corn dog, that play.
Yep,
that
absolutely.
Ran. So I don't know, man. Am I wrong there? Just thinking, what if this is one of those free agent signings that we look up and go, boy, was there anybody that played a bigger role for, you know, in terms of bang for their buck than Mecole Hardman, you know?
Yep. I like Ed Madden's comment here. Looks like somebody forgot to tell Mecole he's only there for special teams.
Bingo. There you go.
That was kind of the vibe that we were thinking initially, like, oh, you know, good free agent pickup, you know, bring another experienced guy to camp. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to catch the vibe that Mecole Hardman is probably going to play his way onto this team and probably play a bigger role than any of us really anticipated. So I'm all for it, man. He's you know, old enough to know better, young enough to still do it, still enjoy it, right? So you got some veteran leadership, some championship caliber football experience in your wide receiver room. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, completely agree. What do you think, Jacob?
I am becoming a Mecole Hardman fan very quickly. The Packers released a few videos, one of them with about a 15-minute interview with the gentleman. Hey, look at there. And it's just the way he conducts himself. He just seems like a Packer type guy, a Green Bay type guy. Mm-hmm. Like Tim said, he's not just some wide-eyed rookie. You know what I mean? He's been the key component to winning a Super Bowl in the last play of a game. He has 3 rings. He knows what it's like to have the pressure cooker be turned on. He's played with an elite quarterback. He's played with an elite coach. He's played in an elite organization. He understands what it takes to be at that level. And I think, like the comment said, even myself, I thought when they brought him in, hey, he's maybe a special teams guy, and that'll be it. And I think that very clearly he's showing that he could be very well in the mix, especially with Christian Watson being out. I mean, that speed is no joke. You could see it today.
Yeah. Ed Madden said he could be a guy who makes plays even with limited opportunities. I completely agree there. And I will say this, the one thing that stood out to me immediately following the draft was it was both Savion and Matthew Golden were mentioning players that reached out to him. And I want to say Matthew Golden's a certain number of the Packers wide receivers didn't reach out to him. Some did. Mecole Hardman reached out to both Savion and Jaden Reed, and they both mentioned that. So it was like, even though it's just a 1-year deal, pretty much a minimum veteran contract that he signed, he immediately kind of took the whole team vibe on. You know, here he was after the mandatory minicamp today. Matt Schneiden tweeted this video out. They asked him a couple questions to see what Mecole Hardman had to say.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know I was gonna be the oldest in the receiver. I'm getting old, man. Year 7 is getting crazy. But I think just being able to get there and the work that was put in to get there. I think just being able to relay that to the guys, and especially when times get hard, or you're not feeling so well, or you're hurting or whatever. Just kind of being have that experience to let them know, like, hey, it's this part of it. This where things happen. This where you build that, and this is gonna get better in the long run. And if it's hard now, it's easier later on. So just be able to have that experience to actually have gotten to the end game and having to win it. I think that goes a long way, especially for the younger guys to see that. And I'm glad I can give that experience to them and let them know like what it took and what it's going to take.
Year 7.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't.
So I don't know, man. I kind of like his attitude. I like
I love
his
it.
aura,
Yeah.
if you will.
You mentioned him reaching out to some of the younger receivers when he got here. Even just being like you said, a veteran on a 1-year kind of tryout deal or prove it deal, whatever you want to call it. A new opportunity, kind of towards the middle to later stages of your career. Hopefully, a guy like Mecole Hardman plays well into his 30s. I think he's made just as much, if not maybe even a little bigger effort to connect with the community here in Green Bay too. He was very outspoken, reaching out to fans directly, looking for the bait shop and the best fishing spots on the Fox River. And we're still supposed to go bowling after mini camp and everything is all
That's right.
all said and done, So like I think it does. It speaks to his character, and he's a total pro, right? And whether he's here for one season or 2 or 3 more or whatever it ends up being, he's going to make an effort to connect to the Packers, and not just the team but the town. And I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you something else that stood out the other day. Edrin Cooper posted on his Instagram stories. I don't know if y'all seen it. He was at a local dirt track watching racing.
Yep.
I was like, God, this dude is on the right team.
That's so good.
Love it. Love it. So,
Yeah.
again,
And Daryl, just real quick on Mecole, he said, correct me if I'm wrong, but Mecole Hardman ran a 4.33 40 at the combine, which again is pretty blazing. However, Daryl did go on to say that's 3 seconds faster than Watson. Not quite, but I get where you're trying to go. I think he said 0.3 of a second, but
yeah, 3/10.
That was also what, 6 seasons ago, 7.
Well,
7
yeah,
seasons ago.
yeah. But I do think that he possibly could. I saw somebody else. Yeah, right there. Thank you. Ed Madden saying that, hey, Watson, Golden, Hardman. I mean, I even think that Savion, for the way he's built, that dude is a blazing fast guy for the size he has. Look at guys like Marshawn Lloyd that's coming out of the backfield, bro. I'm telling you, we'd be a couple speed demons, man.
Yeah. Dude, all those guys, 4.340, right? Bo Melton, 4.340. So, and will Bo be on the team? I got to be honest with you guys. I'm already tired of hearing and talking about Bo. We'll hit on it again here in a little bit because it was a part of all the coverage. People were taking this Bo Melton playing cornerback thing. God, they're taking it to the extreme. And it's like, I mean, to the point where people are insinuating with their tweets and in the mainstream sports media that this is the guy that's going to replace Jair Alexander. What the hell are you talking about? How can you be so bad at your job that you think because they were shorthanded at cornerback and they cross-trained him in a mandatory mini camp at cornerback that somehow he is going to be the number one? How bad do you have to be at covering sports to try to convince yourself that's what the Packers are thinking?
I think it's just clickbait. Those guys just know that that's the clicky click you can get today. So that's what they do.
Bro,
We had Savion Williams in a red jersey, and we had to hear about, are they trying him at quarterback? It's like,
there was Milwaukee guys, ESPN Milwaukee guys talking about this is the answer for Jair being. What are you? Anyway.
Well, what's weird is he did a post, practice interview, and they literally asked him about it, and he goes, "Oh, it's not a big deal. Like they just, they told me they wanted me to try me out." He goes, "If it works, it works. I'm never gonna."
he said it's more like a feel thing right now.
Yeah, he said, "I'm a receiver. There's no transition or anything like that." And I think it was more funny. They even asked, like, "Hey, does your brother know you're playing quarterback?" And he's like, "Nah, because I didn't even tell him because I'm not. Like they literally just put me in a couple drills, guys. Everybody take a step back. Cheese curds make my stomach hurt."
Yo.
You know what, Clay? It's like you say, right? The loudest guy in the room typically has the least to say, right? And a lot of times in the media, it's about being first and being loud not necessarily accurate,
Yeah, and I will say there were several people that did stand up to that whole Gutekunst isn't serious about winning a championship. He doesn't care about winning a championship. There were several people in the media that bit back on that, and I'm very appreciative that they did, because when you hear someone who is a Packer fan and local sports top personality saying stuff like that, I don't think they realize how bad it embarrasses the fan base. It's just sometimes you scroll through social media and you'll see somebody say something that's totally off the wall, and you go and you click on, okay, he's got like 30 followers. It's just a fan, okay, he's just giving his opinion. But when you see someone who gets paid for a living to speak daily about the Packers, and they're just throwing up on their desk just the most ignorant nonsense, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy to me. So I really appreciate, like I said, that there were other sports. We got Talasher went in pretty hard. Like, yeah, I seen that. And that's just, it was good.
You know what sucks is it makes me think of, that's what Bears podcasts do. That's what Bears media does. Like, we don't need to sink down into that sludge.
Right.
No.
And it's
look where we are in the year, right? It's slow news time, right? You're reaching for stuff. You're reading into things. This is the time of year when they're going to try stuff like that, right? It really shouldn't be super surprising at all that they're experimenting right now,
Yep. And again, time will tell how everything shakes out. To me, I still feel pretty confident that, hey, Bo is unfortunately on the outside looking in. But as we see every year, we have these conversations in June and July. And the next thing you know, somebody goes on IR for 4 weeks, and that person that we thought was going to get the axe is on the roster, and in some cases playing a significant role. I feel like Malik Heath has passed Bo on the depth chart. And we talked about that going into this offseason after looking at the advanced metrics and all that. And then lo and behold, your mandatory minicamp, even before you get to training camp, they're checking Bo out and his versatility at the cornerback position. So it's kind of like it feels like he is on the outside looking. And I love Bo as a person. Like, you're not going to find a better human being than Bo Melton. It's just it's a room that's pretty full, Jacob. But
do you think what's more frustrating, at least for me, was I listened to Ryan's pod, I think it was maybe 2 days ago, and he said this continuously and called it pretty much almost at 100% that when the Packers decide to do this, when they start taking a player that they drafted or signed and have had on the team, they have a designated position and they say, hey, but we're going to try you out at this other position. That usually follows by them getting released or something happening,
or practice squad, right?
or practice squad. And I think that's just something to think about, because I think about Tariq Carpenters, those types of players where it's like, hey, we don't know where you fit. We're going to try you here. We're going to try you here. Yeah. I hate saying it, but it sounds like it was more likely that it's a last ditch effort to say, like, do we have anything we can salvage here before we decide to let you go? But
because you'd like to keep Bo, you'd like to keep Bo for special teams reasons as well, right? And if backup corner is a way for him to be on the team, I think he's just a victim of a crowded receiver room right now. Two fresh draft picks coming in. You've got a lot of second-year guys, third-year guys. It's highly competitive. So I think there's some truth to that statement. I really do.
Yeah. And I think in many cases, no matter what sport it is, if a player is mentioned that he can do several things, it typically means he can't do one thing great. It kind of is what it is. And I thought Bo, especially in 2023, showed a lot of promise. Last year, he took a step back. There's no doubt about it. But if that's a guy, though, that's rotating on and off of the practice squad all year as you battle injuries at the wide receiver position, man, it's a pretty good spot to be in, that you can have a guy with a little bit of experience in game and someone who obviously knows the playbook. He knows the offense. He's got blazing speed. And now they're cross-training him to potentially play corner in a pinch, that type of thing. I kind of feel like that's a positive to have. H.E. Solder hit the nail on the head. Troy Brown, he's the first person I thought of when I seen this Solder. But Troy Brown, a lot more of a contributor, in the wide receiver room for the Patriots, is what he's talking about. Young Tom Brady, that was one of kind of his go-to guys, right? I don't think Bo is quite elevated to – in Matt LaFleur's offense, what Troy Brown was. And it's not necessarily a knock at Bo as much as it is, you got some dogs in that receiver room. I know we may not have a true number one, but boy, oh boy, do we have a room full of twos, man. And that can be valuable when you're looking to spread the ball around and keep the defense on their heels. I'll tell you somebody who is starting to impress already, and it's early, is Jordan Love. We showed a couple clips there. We've seen the bomb to Mecole Hardman. Obviously, the other day we were talking about some other things that were going on. Matt LaFleur today said, Matt LaFleur on Jordan Love's offseason, quote, "It's been as good as it could have been." So it sounds like Coach LaFleur is really, really happy with the work that Jordan Love has put in. Now, will Coach get up there at the podium and go, "Man, let me tell you guys, Jordan been slacking." He was. It's not going to happen, right? But I also don't think he would just offer up information if he didn't believe it. I don't think Matt's that kind of guy. Matt's got to the point in his tenure at Green Bay, you can tell he don't want to be at the podium. So he darn sure ain't just going to and say extra stuff he doesn't need to say. I kind of see that too with Jordan. It feels a little different. And again, we've just been through OTAs, and now obviously mandatory mini camp is in day 2. But it just feels like Jordan, this is the year that Brett really broke out too. This is the year that Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl, albeit his numbers weren't as good as the year before, but he still was good enough for them to win a Super Bowl. That defense kind of carried on that year, as they had the number 1 defense in the league in 2010. Jordan, I don't know, man. I've got these programs I showed you guys on the show last night. Anybody who was tuned in live last night, Mandy picked me up all kinds of old the season programs, season preview magazines, right? 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, and I want to say maybe it was 98, but going through it last night, the 92 one, Brett wasn't even on the roster, right? And you've seen, when I say wasn't on the roster, they traded for him in 92, right? Am I thinking right? Or was it 93?
Drafted in 91, traded in 93.
92.
Yeah,
so 93 was when he started.
Cincinnati game, right? 93? Okay.
In this program, he wasn't even in the team picture in Green Bay. Now, he wasn't in the team picture in Atlanta because he was hungover. We know that story. But he wasn't.
We're going to give him some.
He wasn't even in the team picture in Green Bay because he hadn't been traded for yet. They had already, taken the photo and everything. But it was cool going through that program, and it's all about Mike Holmgren and his staff, seeing a young Andy Reid, seeing John Gruden look like he was literally 9 years old. It was hilarious. He looks just this skinny little kid, Mooch in there.
Andy Reid, right?
Yeah, Andy Reid. Yeah, he
his mustache.
He was not near as big, obviously, as he is today. But, boy, you could see with that mustache, that facial hair, just his demeanor, like that dude can smoke some ribs. You just know it. Like he's gonna get to where he is today. There's no doubt about it.
Do y'all remember that clip where I can't remember what Brett did, but Andy Reid was basically like, "Please just don't go out and do that." Or Holmgren said something to Favre. Favre goes out, does the exact opposite, of course, not the one that you're all thinking of, but some other one. And he comes back, and Andy Reid walks up, and he goes, "Why'd you do that?" And he goes, "Blame it on me." And he goes, "I called it. I called the play." And Brett's face, he just walks behind him and goes, "Oh,
Laughs.
You're gonna get in trouble."
Yeah. Let's see here if I can find this.
What a staff that was, right?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, Andy Reid, Mike Holmgren. We had Steve Mariucci.
Mooch.
We had John Gruden. I mean, good grief.
Y'all gonna love this.
Taking me down memory lane, man.
I got to show you guys this.
I think there was even more, Tim. I think there was a few others we're forgetting.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Somebody mentioned
Edgar Bennett was on our coaching staff, I believe, back then too.
Somebody mentioned a comment in here about Andy Reid as a kid. You guys see that comment? It just got posted in here. Pull that up on the screen for me. I want to give credit to whoever it was. Yeah. Chuck Jagger says, "Look up Andy Reid as a 7-year-old. I don't know if this is when he was 7, but this is the punt, pass, and kick competition. Y'all ready for this?
Man.
See if you can pick out Andy Reid here."
I'm gonna guess he's the guy with the ball.
Yeah.
He's bigger than the guy that's officiating there.
Oh, my gosh.
You can tell he didn't check his birth certificate. I think he was coaching in Green Bay 2 years later. Look at the size of this guy. Unbelievable.
Is that real?
No, that's real, dude. That was a pump passing kick competition. Surprisingly, he did win. He was an underdog, but he won that competition. Yeah, that's Andy Reid as a kid. Unbelievable, man. We'll hold on to that one for a little bit. Also, we got this one we added too. I picked that up on Twitter earlier. Mr. Caleb Williams in a couple of years. Gonna be working at Whack-Donald's if you guys ever watch the Chappelle show. So, anyway, I'm excited about Jordan Love. Am I wrong there though, guys? To me, it feels like he's ready to take that next step. And what I was getting at with the program, boy, we got way off track talking Andy Reid as a kid and everything else. That program in 92, Brett Favre non-existent. 93, he's on the cover, right? 94, he's on the cover. Or no, 94 was Reggie White on the cover. 95, Brett back on the cover. So, like, you've kind of gone through the growing pains a little bit. I think this is the year that we look up at Jordan and go, if he stays healthy, of course, that goes for any player across the league. I think we're going to look up and go, boys, we got us a franchise quarterback. Because we felt like that at the end of 2023. All of us did. Last year, I don't want to say you take a step back because of the injuries, but at the end of the day, man, I really do think this is going to be the year that he steps out.
I think it's got to be, right? It has to be this year.